This is a life free from destiny.
Born in Japan and raised across the globe, Mitsuki Miwaki began as an indie musician, pouring her thoughts and feelings into haunting melodies. Her rise to fame wasn't quick. Instead, it was emotional, slow-burning, and deeply personal. Music is more than a sound. It's a lifeline. For countless teens, Mitski's lyrics are a mirror, reflecting their struggles, hopes, and contradictions. This is the story of how one artist gives voice to those who often feel unheard. Section 1. The courage of vulnerability in Mitski's lyrics. One of the main concepts brought up in Mitski's music is vulnerability. It's a word often associated with weakness, yet in Mitski's music it becomes a source of profound strength. Through her lyrics, Mitski invites us into the most private corners of her heart, allowing listeners, especially teens, to be seen in their own struggles. Mitski's music reminds us that vulnerability isn't a flaw, it's a gift. By sharing her own raw emotions, Mitski creates a space where teens can feel comforted. It's in this mutual exchange that her music becomes more than art, it becomes a lifeline.
You're the sun, you've never seen the night, but
Your Best American Girl, one of Mitski's most iconic tracks. On the surface, it's a love song, but beneath the romantic exterior lies a deep, harsh reality. I'm not the moon, I'm not even a star is one of the lyrics that Mitski sang in Your Best American Girl. With these few words, Mitski expresses the painful realization of being unable to fit into someone else's world, a feeling of loss, desperation, and confusion. In I Don't Smoke, vulnerability takes on a different form, one of coping. The line, I don't smoke except for when I'm missing you, becomes a metaphor for the ways we manage longing and grief. Overall, this lyric represents the truth of finding a way to cope. Mitski shows her in a desperate need for affection and desire, but she's unable to receive it. Emotions are rarely simple. They can coexist in tension. Joy mixed with sadness, or hope tinged with despair. In Mitski's lyrics, this emotional complexity is not only acknowledged, but embraced, offering her listeners a mirror for their own tangled feelings. With songs that blur the lines between light and dark, Mitski captures the contradictions of human experience, especially the ones teens often wrestle with the most. Take Nobody, an upbeat melody that conceals a deeply vulnerable core. Beneath its upbeat rhythm lies a heart-wrenching plea for connection. The contrast between the bright melody and the aching lyrics often mirrors the duality of emotions. For example, teens being outwardly happy while inwardly yearning. For many teens, this duality feels all too familiar. In Mitski's song, I Bet on Losing Dogs, Mitski sings of self-awareness and vulnerability, laying the bare pain of investing in something destined to fall. The lyric, I always want you when I'm finally fine, represents wanting something even though you know you can't have it. Another lyric, I'll be there on their side, I'm losing by their side, represents investing into something with your time, effort, and money. Meanwhile, you know that you're never going to get what you want. The outcome you expected isn't always okay. However, what Mitski does allows her listeners to sit in the discomfort of their emotions. She doesn't offer any easy answers, which is especially meaningful for teens learning to navigate their own inner emotions. The song doesn't seek resolution. Instead, it leans into the complexity of longing and self-doubt, emotions that feel deeply relatable to anyone who's ever struggled to let go of something or even someone. Two Slow Dancers captures the bittersweet nature of fleeting moments, with lyrics like, it would have been 100 times easier if we were young again. Mitski reflects on the passage of time and the complexity of holding into something that's slipping away. Mitski's lyrics, "To think that we could stay the same, but we're two slow dancers, last one out," also represents the meaning of wanting something even though you can't have it back. It represents looking back onto a bittersweet memory, knowing that it'll never be the same. Mitski's words resonate with teens facing transitions, whether it's the end of middle school, high school, a relationship, or a chapter of life. She reminds us that beauty can coexist with sadness. The teenage years can be isolating. Between the pressure to succeed, navigating relationships, and figuring out identity, many teens feel alone in their struggles. But through her music, Mitski creates a connection that makes them feel seen. To conclude the documentary, I asked 3 people questions about Mitski. I asked the following questions. Mitski often explores themes of identity and self-acceptance. Do you think her lyrics reflect what it feels like to be figuring out who you are as a teen? How so? Why do you think you gravitate towards Mitski's music? Which Mitski song do you feel most connected to and why? Of all the people I asked, I included 3 people specifically.
Okay, so I do think Mitski really reflects on what it's like to be like growing up as a teen and trying to figure like yourself out. She covers like concepts like confusion and overwhelming emotions, which I feel like all teens go through. And I just feel like Mitski's really vulnerable in her music, which helps like people relate and teens relate to like what it's like to be going through all these emotions as a teen. And then I think that I gravitate towards Mitski because, like I said, she's really vulnerable and honest in her music, and I feel like whenever I'm listening to an artist, that's what I look for, because like I want to feel like seen when I'm listening to music, you know? Like when I feel lonely and I want to listen to music, I want to feel like I'm not lonely anymore because someone else is connecting to me. Like they're being so vulnerable in their music just to make me feel like seen. I don't know if that makes sense. But, and then I felt most connected with I Bet on Losing Dogs because like the first time I heard it, it always kind of just like stuck with me. I just really liked it. And I think it's because whenever I listen to music is like really important to me. And whenever I listen to like a song and I really like it. Like I'm gonna listen to it all the time. And I feel like I really connected with this song because it kind of talks about like, it's kind of like a one-sided relationship or being alone in relationships. And I didn't really see it as like a relationship between like not just like you and like a boy, or like if you're a boy, you and a girl or whatever, you know? Like I just saw it as more like it could be friendships too. And I feel like a lot of the times as like a teenager, a lot of teenagers experience like one-sided relationships with friends and with like, I guess like boyfriends and girlfriends. But sometimes I feel like I'm not friends with like the best people. They're not like good friends. So this song kind of just, reminds me of that, and I just like it a lot.
I think Mitski's lyrics do reflect what it feels like to be figuring out who you are as a teenager. This is because her lyrics can reflect multiple situations teenagers can experience, such as stress, difficult relationships, finding who you are, and coping with any problems we as teenagers may have trying to grow into the world as our own people. I think I gravitate towards Mitski's music because I enjoy how her music has abstract meanings behind all her songs she creates. Mitski creates these beautiful songs with either the most melancholic or moving melody. Even when her songs have a completely different meaning from all the tones she has set to all the listeners. Overall, I think Mitski's music is very enticing. I feel most connected to the song Francis Forever because of the lyrics to the song. The song portrays missing a nostalgic feeling of something or someone at times, as in change is a new thing that is either beautiful or rather scary, which I, as in the listener, from time to time get to these thoughts. And this song truly represents it perfectly, and this is one of my favorite songs.
I do think Mitski's lyrics reflect what it feels like to be figuring out who you are as a teenager, because her lyrics cover topics like confusion, isolation, and search for identity. And as a teenager, I think teens are full of those emotions, especially in this generation with social media. And I think it's nice to know that others feel the same way. I feel like people gravitate towards her music because she sings about going through emotional times and self-exploration, which I think people can relate to. I feel most connected to her song called My Love, Mine All Mine, because the meaning of the song is that the one thing that truly belongs to you is the love that you give. And since I think that love is a really strong emotion, I choose to give gentle love to those around me, because I don't know what people are going through, and I think that some people could really need it.
Mitski's openness about her own emotions help teens feel validated in their own experiences. Her music can symbolize that emotions are normal and there's nothing wrong for feeling this way. Beyond the lyrics, Mitski's music has fostered a community. For teens who feel alone, her concerts and online fan spaces become places where they can connect with others who understand.